Hi there, I'm Jenn Hawkins, and I would love to welcome you back to the Around the Block podcast. Today, we have a great show for you. I have my friend and associate, Jim Henderson. He is our Pierce County Association Realtor Government Affairs Director and lobbyist. And we are going to talk about all of the things that just got accomplished and maybe some things that didn't get accomplished on the Hill during this term's session. And then I think we're going to wrap up today's episode talking about what we're going to be working on in the future, because you and I get to go together to Washington, D.C.
That's
with
right.
a few other people from the association. We're going to go down to D.C. and we're going to work on some bigger scale housing issues. So we'll wrap it up with that information. So that being said, hello, Jim.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I've been looking forward to this episode because I nerd out on all things politics. All things policies, obviously housing, been in real estate for 26 years, and I know that you feel the same.
Yes.
So let's dive in.
All right. Yeah, it's always a fun conversation because it's always a great conversation when I get your perspective on now the bill's passed, how do we implement it? How's it going to impact us? So let's start with a bill that the legislature has been working on for several years. And that this year it was House Bill 1345, which is the rural ADUs.
Yes.
So we passed, the infill, the city ADU. The rural ADU just took a little longer. We've talked about this where really I think that the considerations that they had or the kind of the challenges with that bill was really probably the water, right? And because you typically are on a well, maybe in more rural areas. So that part had to be worked out. They figured that out. And now we've got approval to start, putting rural ADUs in place.
That's amazing. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. We both live in Gig Harbor, a lot of rural areas out there. And there's so many different ways to use an ADU, right? It can be mom and dad. It can be college age or just out of college age kids. It can be splitting it off and putting tenants in there for some subsidized income for your mortgage payment. So that's a big, huge deal.
And it's always made sense to me that, and I guess it just because of the unique challenges of rural space, but that they didn't get it first because they typically have more land to then put an ADU versus, a city lot is generally smaller.
Although you and I have talked about this previously, and I think that our legislators on the Hill didn't necessarily think about the fact that a lot of times that's septic as well.
That's right.
And so the septic takes up a huge space on the property versus having a sewer line. And then there's also the radius for the well and or the water system. So I think that was something that was overlooked that I'm glad they were able to figure out.
Yeah. Bipartisan bill. So again, you'll hear maybe a few other bills where they were bipartisan and you'll see just how things can get done, and they get done so much quicker and easier when people are working together, rowing in the same direction, if you will.
Yep.
All right. Next bill, another great bill, is House Bill 2269. So this bill would just make a clearer path for taking underutilized commercial zone space and allowing a residential purpose on that space. So think, essentially duplex, triplexes, and just residential use in what currently is zoned a commercial space. This is great. I mean, I think around the region, in Pierce County, and I think particularly like in University Place where I used to live, and I remember there just being this underdeveloped, underutilized, commercial area. And for years, for 20 years, maybe longer, it just sat vacant. Yeah.
Well, and something for people to consider that where a lot of this came from is COVID.
Yes.
So there's these big commercial spaces and then everybody got sent home and we couldn't go anywhere. And so the online shopping became more and more prevalent. And these commercial spaces just got more and more vacated. And now we both love, I think we both agree on this, mixed use is just the way of the future. We were just talking about Europe and how they have it figured out there.
Yes.
When you are in France or in Italy, there's a corner store, there's a coffee shop, there's all these different things. And if we can get back to things like that, I think that mixed use is really the wave of the future.
And locally, when we look at, these underutilized commercial spaces, we have the transit that is, already in place there as well. So So that also serves, another great use for residential.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Let's see, condo development. Okay. Again, another thing that we agree on is, and I know that we've talked about this, where in cities like Gig Harbor, there's a high demand for condo living. So what the legislature has done this year in House Bill 2304 is that we've expanded the use of what we refer to as the 210 warranty. So one of the challenges with condo construction has always been the warranty period has been the life of the condo. It's been so long. And now you can now build a smaller project and have a shorter warranty window. So I think that this is going to, this gives more flexibility and gives better options.
Yeah. So to back that up a little bit, a reason why a lot of the condo developers got out of it is because of this. So take, for example, you are a developer, you build a condo, and 10 years later, the windows fail. Now, those weren't your windows. You hired a subcontractor. It was a different product. However, you are held on the hook for said windows for the whole building. So a lot of these large developers got out of condo development, switched over to apartment development, and that slowed up this demand for our second largest demographic of the baby boomers who maybe want to stay in Gig Harbor or want to stay in University Place, but they don't want their 4,000 square foot house anymore. And they still want some nice luxury living. And there's no condos for them to go to. So this warranty takes the full term off of the developer so that they have less risk and are more likely to build some more nice condos for us.
And it allows a lower price point entry into the market. Because I think that what we all see in the condo market, when condos are built, they're always built to that conventional buyer. And the conventional buyer is an established buyer. And like you said, they want a little more of a luxurious product. And they want, a different fit and finish. So another great way that we'll be able to get first-time buyers into the market. Just wanted to let you know that the warranty, 210 warranty, it's 1 year on the materials and workmanship, 2 years on systems like HVAC, and then it's 10 years on structural. So that's how that breaks down.
I've always used the example too, because I guess I am talking just Gig Harbor wise about the boomers, but you're absolutely right. Being able to not only mix use with retail and residential, but also with demographics. So having like Thea's, I use Thea's as an example. Great example. Where you have lower income and more affordability on the lower levels, and then you've got the penthouses on the top. So I think that's really great for community as well.
Well, research has shown, and rabbit hole we can go down, but research has shown that mixed income buildings in communities really serve communities well, and everybody benefits from each other in those buildings.
I can see that.
All right, two more. The next one, Senate Bill 6091. This is the Realtors bill from this year about public marketing, publicly marketing your property when you put it up for sale. There was a House bill. These were companion bills. It was just decided during the kind of the bill process that the Senate bill was going to be the bill that actually passed. So it's a real simple bill, right? I mean, it just says that when you market your property, you market it publicly. And the bill doesn't define what marketing is. You get to determine what that is for yourself, or your brokerage will determine that. And it just creates a fair playing field so that everybody has access to the information, the listing.
Exactly. Pocket listings are talked about all the time, but it is a fair housing issue. You do need to make it an equitable and fair playing field for everybody. So this just puts it into law and makes it so that there's no more questions.
Gosh, and I just think about when I bought my last house and the market was competitive and there's just not a lot in inventory. So if my house had been a pocket listing, I would not have had the opportunity to buy it. So
and it is an important thing to share with the consumers that is a detriment to them. While people think it's this great thing to have your house as a pocket listing, it could be a detriment. So it's nice that they took us into consideration, and now it's a fair playing field.
So good work for the realtors and recognizing that, and then moving forward. Again, another bipartisan bill.
Hi, I'm Keith Dash, owner of Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. At Pella, we help homeowners and real estate professionals across Western Washington elevate their homes with premium windows and doors designed specifically for our Pacific Northwest climate. If you're thinking about replacing windows, upgrading curb appeal, or helping a client maximize value, my team would love to connect. We're currently offering special promotions, and when you reach out, be sure to mention the Tacoma-Pierce County Realtors Association about our exclusive savings. Visit us at pellapnw.com to schedule your free consultation.
Last bill, statewide income tax.
Dun, dun, dun.
This bill is scheduled to go into effect in 2028. It's a 9.9% tax on income over $1 million, and it's household income. So if you file jointly,
Net or gross?
it's on your gross.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and lots that we still don't know about it. Like, I mean, for business owners, if, your corporate proceeds flow into personal returns. I mean, so there are still some work on the accountant side of this to really figure out how this is going to impact. I believe it's going to impact people who don't just W-2 earn, over $1 million. I think there are other ways in which, households earn or they generate income that is taxable. I will say that something that was able, that the realtors again did an awesome job in being able to exempt the sale of your primary home.
Yep, that's huge.
Or any home, actually. It was any home that you owned over 365 days. So if you've held that home for 366 days, the proceeds are exempt from the income tax.
That is a big move.
And then there's also if you sold your business, and that was also exempt. So, and I mean, a lot of credit goes to RPAC. Not
stocks and not.
That's right. Your stocks and those investments are subject to
the tax.
Yeah. And there's other taxes that they get charged on that too. So this is in addition. This tax doesn't replace any other tax that you may currently be paying on your income.
Right.
But I wanted to mention RPAC because I mean it's that investment in RPAC that really key changes, right? I mean, because think about if the average home out there can oftentimes be $1 million,
right?
And if you're selling that and you don't have a mortgage, you automatically just paid 10% more. So it seems like common sense that this wouldn't be included, but it took the realtors to make it happen.
Yeah.
So
that is huge. RPAC. Thanks for the RPAC plug.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
You said that was the last one you wanted to talk about? Okay, good. Well, then I just want to throw out, because I get asked a lot, because I am an RPAC major investor. And so I talk about RPAC all the time. I talk about these bills that we're fighting for. I bring it up in my listing presentations, the benefit of being a realtor versus a non-realtor, because this is the work that we're doing. And a question I get asked a lot about is the capital gains, of which a reminder is that is a federal tax.
That's right.
And so you and I, as I mentioned in the beginning, are headed to DC in June to go to the Hill. And that will be one of the big topics that we are discussing there. I think that in Washington State, we were able to bring it to their attention that it has not been addressed since 1997.
That's right.
And that is a huge deal, because we all see in the grocery store, at the gas tank, every single thing has gone up since 1997, with the exception of this gains amount. So that is going to be a big thing that we're discussing in DC. I don't want to put you on the spot, because I don't know if we don't know what we're going to be talking about. Washington Realtors puts that out for us, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. They'll give us talking points and, just
what our
priorities are while we're there.
Okay.
This we know is one of them. And I think particularly we have, our U.S. senators, I mean, now that we have this income tax, and mind you, there are other states that have income tax,
of course,
but not this high with as high as everything else, like our gas tax, our sales tax. And so it's out of balance as compared to other states. But I know that a particular senator from our state was very concerned with income tax passing. And so I think that now that it has, that puts a bigger focus on the capital gains.
Got it.
Has to be addressed because the tax burden that Washingtonians are going to face
is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of tax, it must not have even made it because we're not talking about it, but I know that they were trying to increase the excise tax. Were we able to squash that before it was even?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So, and I think there's also an attempt to then also adjust the estate tax.
Right.
And so those, but what doesn't make it through one year comes back the next year.
Yeah.
And so,
and that's what keeps you having a job.
That's right. You wonder in a short session, I was like, what are the ideas going to be this year? And there's always ideas. I mean, we had over 600 bills filed, and 140 of those bills that were filed touched housing in some way.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how many bills that Washington realtors are tracking
and working on
because they touch us in one way, whether it's landlord tenant or
right.
It's on.
Well, and I think that's something that's important to focus on too, because we are also talking about things that affect renters. It's not just homeowners, it's renters and then landlords and the amount of properties you can own.
That's right.
And there's all these bills that are focused on, and so it hits every single person in Washington State. I mean, housing is affecting every single person, whether you are a renter, a owner, a landlord. So the fact that you're out there every day focusing on these things, I think is extremely important. So I do.
Because not only at a state level, but we also at a local level.
Right.
Because, we've got things happening in Tacoma that are the cities around the state are also passing additional laws. So sometimes the approach is whatever doesn't pass at the state level, then we'll take it on at the local level.
Well, and I do know when we went to DC last year, a lot of people were asking us about the home in Tacoma and the ADUs that can then be extra income with renters in there. So we are getting some national attention for some of these ideas that we are putting out at a local level. So that is our realtor money at work.
Yes.
And I always like to point this out because I know we're in a very politically divided environment. Our PAC is 50-50, and we're very proud of that. We claim to be purple, 50% Republican, 50% Democrat, and we're very proud of that. And we do not go to one side or the other. We go strictly down the line for housing. Whoever's going to support us for housing.
That's right. Whether it's Washington Realtors or it's TPCAR, we're a bipartisan organization.
Absolutely.
And we are not, it's an issue based, right?
Yep.
So we support candidates who support housing.
Yep.
And those are candidates on both sides of the aisle. We have a great group of candidates, and I mean, we kind of refer to like the Housing Caucus, and those are members from both sides that really see the common sense approaches to the housing challenges.
Right. So I know that it's mostly realtors that listen and watch, but I know hopefully there's other people out there too. So do focus on that. When you are hiring someone to sell your house, make sure that person is a realtor. There is a difference. And a lot of people ride the coattails of that brand. But a realtor, that's us out there doing this work to protect everybody when it comes to housing. So do ask that question when you are in the interviewing process for selling your home. Anything else for the good of the order?
No, I think that's great. I mean, we should get back together and we could talk about landlord tenant bills too.
I think you're absolutely right. Maybe we'll do it right after we get home from DC.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay, perfect. I would like to take a moment to especially thank our sponsor, Pella Windows and Doors Northwest. And thank you to Max, the guy who's behind the camera. He's amazing. And thank you so much for following along. And please subscribe and do all the things and spread the word if you enjoyed what you heard here today. Jim, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll see you soon. And that's it.
Bye.